Thank you, Melissa. Brad, thanks for being here with us. And I want to start off, your approach at Ripple is different from a lot of the other cryptocurrencies out there. You are trying to enable transactions between banks, movement of large amounts of money in a short period of time. What is the latest as far as Ripple being able to sign up banks for that vision?
Well, it's really been an incredible 2018 for us. We're now signing up more than one bank to a production contract per week. So that it's really accelerated over 2017. We announced this morning that we signed the largest bank in Kuwait, the National Bank of Kuwait. So it continues to build, momentum continues to build. And the dynamic there is there's network effects. The more participants, the more value in joining. And so we're seeing that momentum build.
Now, at the same time, a lot of people, when they think of cryptocurrencies, they think of Bitcoin. You staked out arguably a different tack on that. You're trying to be useful and practical is the line that you're saying. But as I look at the charts, XRP, your currency, and Bitcoin are kind of moving very tightly correlated to one another. So what does that do to your story and the ability to sign up institutions like banks for using this for what they hope will be a stable platform?
I think it's an important question. And I think from the earliest days, Ripple kind of staked out a space that said, look, we're not anti-government. We're not working against the banks. We're not trying to circumvent regulation. Instead, we're trying to work with the system. We think the blockchain revolution is really happening, can happen from within the system. It's not going to be attacking the system. So I think you're also right that there is a lot of correlation right now between the entire crypto digital asset market, and you're not seeing that differentiation. I think that's just a matter of time as people better understand the different use cases, as people better understand the utility and the problem that's being solved with these different digital assets. There's obviously been a lot of noise, a lot of hype, and I think it's incredibly important that we stay grounded in, like, what's the real problem? Who's the customer? What's the value being created by solving that problem for those customers?
Brad, we're here.
Nice to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you. We just came off stage.
Absolutely, it was very good.
That was interesting.
Well done.
Thank you. No, thank you. Well done. There was a really loud bit of music in the background, but we got through it. We managed to talk about Nostra Vostros and your announcement today.
I think, as you pointed out, the music and the thumping was all about excitement around what we're doing with XRapid.
Absolutely. So, Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple, you had an announcement today. Do you want to remind us what it is?
Yes, we are very excited. You know, we've seen a lot of continued investment in the XRP ecosystem, but we, Ripple, wanted to go beyond that even, and we're working with 17 universities around the world where we're funding $50 million, contributing that to those universities to further the investment in blockchain, in crypto. Yeah, this really is the workforce of the future. And I think there's so many different ways these technologies can be used to catalyze industries, to change the way global commerce is flowing. And I think using these technologies for that workforce of the future could really change the future.
And this is about addressing some of the perceived centralization as well a little bit. Like you would see them running validators and things like that?
Certainly some of the universities we're working with are going to be running validators. It was important to us that this was really a philanthropic effort, and it wasn't just a, hey, you know, we're going to do X, Y, and Z, and we want you to do these things. It was really stepping back, and it's one of the reasons why we didn't even require the research and some of there's a Ripple fellowship launching at the University of Pennsylvania. You know, it's not even required that it's just focused on XRP. It's, look, we want to understand blockchain technologies broadly. We want to further the research and further the usage of those broadly.
So you guys, two core products, XRapid and XCurrent. So XCurrent being the one that people probably know, it's the cross-border fiat to fiat, and XRapid is based on XRP, the digital asset, the natively digital asset. So we separated those two on stage. I think we got through them. We talked about the business case for liquidity management and so on. But you guys sold, was it $170 million of XRP, and you've kind of publicly disclosed all of that stuff in Q1, and that's now building the war chest. Do you see a time in which that flips into being revenue from, you know, kind of providing XRapid and XCurrent more so than selling XRP?
You know, we definitely continue to see both sides of the business grow quickly. As we talked about on stage, we've signed up now more than 100 customers on XCurrent. We're seeing more customers sign up on XRapid. We've publicly disclosed, I think, 6 or 7 of those. Ultimately, when we think about success, it's how do we drive success of the XRP ecosystem broadly? Yeah. We are one of many participants in that ecosystem. We are the most interested participants. You know, we own, as we talked about, 60% of all the XRP. One of the reasons why we're so proactive and transparent about what we do with XRP is because we want to be a steward of the industry. We want to make sure there's total transparency. And so we do, as you referenced, send out a quarterly report and put it out there to share exactly what we see happening in the ecosystem, what we've sold, what others are doing, what we see happening, because we want everyone to participate and benefit from that ecosystem.
And so when you say everyone to participate and benefit, like pretty much anyone can buy the XRP if they were to go to a cryptocurrency exchange. So who do you think is buying the XRP?
Well, I think I can't know who's buying XRP on Bitstamp or Kraken because it's their customers. We certainly see more institutional interest. We Ripple, we sell a little bit of XRP ourselves directly. Those are with institutional investors, institutional players. But one of the things I think is exciting to see change a little bit in the crypto industry broadly, and we talked about this on stage, is I feel like 2 years ago, the use case for crypto was kind of all about Silk Road or Alphabay. And now you're seeing, more and more people talk about, well, now crypto is all about the speculator. And I think that's true, but I think it's also an evolution.
So is crypto for the speculator, or is it really latterly actually for somebody else? Is it for the institutions, do you think, longer term? Or would you prefer to see it go there, maybe?
Many industries are, let's choose a commodity like gold, let's choose a commodity like oil. Speculators are part of those ecosystems. And they're an important part because they're providing liquidity to those ecosystems. So many industries have speculators who participate. Ripple is focused on how do we enable a institutional use case. Yeah. We aren't trying to, I actually was quoted publicly as saying I cringe when people talk about promoting a digital asset. Mm-hmm. Ripple never tries to promote XRP as a digital asset. We try to demonstrate its usefulness in product flows and solving a real problem.
But you're an organization, I think, where a lot of the founders have a lot of XRP. There's a lot of potential for conflict and that sort of thing. Your clients are the banks. How do you get them comfortable with the idea that you hold a lot of XRP and that XRP's price isn't going to be volatile, that there's not going to be any compliance challenges coming down the road? How do you get them there?
Well, the first thought is, in terms of the potential conflicts you described, that assumes that we actually could control the price of XRP, which I would say we can't.
If you were to dump a lot of it on a market, though.
Yeah, we actually now, as I think you probably know, we have it tied up in escrow, and so we really can't even do that. But it's important, I think, for any healthy market to not have a player controlling the market. And I made a comment, not on stage, but separately. Ripple, the company, had our best quarter ever in Q1. We signed up more than a bank a week to production contracts.
And production contract means that they intend to switch on Xcurrent or Xrapid?
Real flows, Xcurrent or Xrapid, yes, but real flows, real money, not experiments.
And what's the balance there? Is it mostly Xcurrent still?
It's still mostly Xcurrent, for sure. And I think you're starting to see, we just launched Xrapid in the market, Q3, Q4 last year. So the point I wanted to make, though, is in a quarter where we had a record quarter and signed up more than a bank a week, the price of XRP went down 70%. Mm-hmm. So I think that the idea that these
correlated.
Look, if the whole ecosystem is successful, you and I have talked about this informally before, but I think that the problem you see in the ICO market is so many of these tokens don't have usefulness. Mm-hmm. The long-term value of any digital asset will be derived by the usefulness of that digital asset, by the utility it delivers.
And there's a gap between when it's initially available and when it becomes useful. There's this period of time. Do you feel that speculators have been burned, and do you feel like there are sensible steps that the market as a whole should be taking to kind of...
to have speculators been burned, massively. There have been outright frauds, right? We've all read about these things, and I also made the comment, experiments in blockchain or white papers are not a business model. Mm-hmm. And for those that are focused on investing in those spaces, I would offer a lot of caution. Mm-hmm. I think Ripple has been successful in part because we've been very focused on let's solve one set of problems for one set of customers. We've gone very deep there, and our momentum there has, I think, served us well.
It is. Brad, thank you so much for being on FinTech Insider and Blockchain Insider with us. I'm sure we'll bump into you soon. And where can people find out more about you?
Ripple.com.
Thank you for being with us.
Check us out.